What is going on, you guys? It's your girl Diana back at you with another YouTube video. Today we're going to be going over what I think are going to be the best counters for the upcoming Black Crystal Terra raid battles against Charizard, which, if you're unaware, these raids are going to be starting December 1st at 4 p.m. Pacific time and end on December 4th at 3:59 p.m. Pacific time for the first round of battles. There is going to be a second round of the raid battles later on in the month as well. I did make a video that covers all of the upcoming raid events, so go ahead and check that out if you want more information on it. And if you're new here, make sure that you hit the subscribe button so that you're always up to date on the latest Pokemon news, and give this video a thumbs up if you are a Pokemon fan so we can push it out into the YouTube algorithm so that more Pokemon fans can see it. And if you would like another way to support the channel, please feel free to check out the merch store. There is a link down below in the description that takes you to not only my merch store, but also all of my other socials so you can keep up what I'm doing on a daily basis and cop one of these sweatshirts. I've also linked copies of Pokemon Scarlet and Violet if you are still looking for your own on my Amazon storefront. But without further ado, let's go ahead and hop into what I think is going to be the most effective counters for the upcoming raids. Okay, we gotta start off by talking about this Charizard, because not only is Charizard normally a fire flying dual type, it is going to be terastallized into a dragon type. On top of that, it's also probably going to be level 100 since this is a 7-star raid, and the 6-star raids consist of Pokemon that are at level 90. So this is definitely going to be a tricky one to go up against, especially considering that Charizard can learn fire type moves, dragon type moves, flying type moves, fighting type moves, electric type moves, and steel type moves. So move pool wise, I'm sure that they have thought of a very competitive based moveset, because obviously they're not going to make this easy on us. So I'm thinking they're probably going to have some type of fire move, whether that's flamethrower or fire blast, something like that. They're also probably going to have a dragon type move since it will be terastallized into a dragon type. So I'm thinking maybe outrage or terra blast since it will be terastallized. And lastly, I do think that they're going to have some type of steel type move like metal claw on there just to cover all of their bases. Some other scary moves that I can use are Iron Tail, Thunder Punch, and also Solar Beam. I don't really see them putting Solar Beam on there since it does take a whole turn to charge, but I could definitely see them putting something like Thunder Punch on there. So what exactly are we gonna do in order to take this thing down? Well, let me show you. And in case you're like majority of people who don't have their type matchup memorized, let me go ahead and go over what is going to be effective against dragon types and what's not going to be effective. So funny enough, dragon types are actually super effective against their own type, dragon types. However, dragon types are not very effective against steel types, and they have no effect on fairy types. Dragon does also resist fire, water, electric, and grass. But in addition to being weak to dragon and fairy, it's also weak to ice. So when going into one of these raids where everything is very attack focused, since you're trying to take these Pokemon out as quickly as possible since you are on a timer, you're gonna want to go in with a Pokemon that either has ice type, dragon type, or fairy type moves. So that way you can hit super hard. And realistically, you're gonna want a bulky Pokemon too, because if you get knocked out in a raid, it makes your timer go down faster. So now that we've covered the basics of what types we're gonna want to focus on when going into these raids, let's go into who I think is gonna be the best counters. So for this particular raid, my first choice would definitely be an Azumarill, and here is why. Azumarill is water and fairy type, which we already know that fairy type is super effective against dragon. And my Azumarill has the fairy terra type, which means that once it terastallizes, its fairy moves are going to be powered up even more. In addition to having the fairy typing being super effective against dragon, Azumarill is also going to resist any fire type attacks that Charizard might throw out at us. In addition, one of Azumarill's abilities is Huge Power, which what Huge Power does is it doubles the Pokemon's attack stat. So if you want this thing to be as broken as possible, this is the moveset that I recommend. You're going to want to put Play Rough on it as a fairy type move, so that's the one that you're going to keep spamming over and over and over again because it's going to be the most effective against Charizard's dragon typing. Azumarill also has the ability to learn the move Belly Drum, which Belly Drum cuts your HP in half, but it raises your attack stat by 6 in one turn. So not only is its attack going to be boosted by its ability Huge Power, but if we use Belly Drum on it, it'll get +6 attack in one turn as well, which means that Play Rough is really going to hurt. I also have Aqua Jet and Liquidation on it, but realistically the move that you're going to be spamming the most is going to be Play Rough since Charizard will be terastallized into dragon type, so the water type moves aren't going to be very effective against it. You are also going to want to EV train your Azumarill. I went ahead and maxed out its attack and its HP stats, just so that I could take the most advantage of Huge Power and Belly Drum. Since after I use Belly Drum, I am already going to be at half health, HP is going to be imperative here. Especially since, like I mentioned earlier, this is about survivability. You want to be able to stay in the raid battle as long as possible before you get knocked out so that you don't get that time penalty. And of course, I wanted to go ahead and max out attack just so that I could hit as hard as possible to try to knock this thing out ASAP. My Azumarill unfortunately did have the docile nature, but I did go ahead and also give it an adamant mint to give it the effects of an adamant nature, which will also increase its attack stat while simultaneously lowering its special attack, but that's neither here nor there. Obviously, we're focusing on attack here. Of course, my Azumarill is only at level 55 because I actually just caught it. So I do still, of course, need to level it up because you're gonna wanna be going into these raids with level 100 Pokemon. There is no other option here. The biggest downfall that I can see by using Azumarill during these raid battles is that if they do give Charizard the Thunder Punch move, it's obviously gonna be taking some pretty hard hits. So good thing that we bulked up its HP. And just in case you are looking for your own Azumarill that does have the Fairy Terra type, I found mine over here in Castle Royal Lake. You can literally fly to the little island, and the Azumarill here should be a static Pokemon, so you're always gonna find it terastallized here. Obviously, I already caught mine, so you're not gonna see it here in my case, but you're literally just gonna see it swimming around in the lake. You can't miss it since it's obviously gonna be sparkling because it's terastallized. And the Azumarill that is set here in Castle Royal Lake will have the Fairy Terra type. The Azumarill that I caught did already have the move Aqua Jet, however, it did have a fourth move that was not very useful in battle. So if you find yourself in the same case, there's a really easy way to fix that. And the way that you're gonna do that is by using the Mirror Herb, which you can actually purchase in Casacarapa City at Delibird Presents. But what you're gonna wanna do is you're going to wanna go ahead and go to your boxes, and you're gonna find a Pokemon that already knows the move Belly Drum. But this is an Azumarill that I caught earlier in the game that I caught as an Azurill that I ended up not using because it has the wrong ability and I did not have access to an ability patch. Which, another fun fact about the Azumarill that you can catch at Castle Royal Lake, it does have the huge power ability when you catch it. So save yourself an ability patch. But you're gonna wanna go ahead and put these two in your party. You're then gonna go over to your Azumarill or whatever Pokemon you wanna teach Belly Drum to that is able to learn Belly Drum, of course, and you're gonna go to check summary. You're gonna scroll over to its moves, and I'm gonna go ahead and press A to change moves. I'm gonna forget a move. I'm just gonna forget Bubble Beam here. So yes. So you're gonna wanna open up a slot. So that way you have an open spot for you to be able to learn Belly Drum. And then you're gonna go back to your bag. You're gonna go over to your Mirror Herb, and then you're gonna go ahead and give that to the Pokemon that you want to learn Belly Drum. After that, super easy, let me get away from this wild Pokemon. You're gonna go ahead and set up a picnic. And you don't have to do anything while you're in the picnic. You just gotta be in here long enough for all of your Pokemon to come out. There is all of our Pokemon. Why is Azumarill literally dead? What is happening? Oh, he's asleep. Okay, we're good. We're good. Nothing has happened. All right, so now that we're done with that, you're just gonna go ahead and exit out of your picnic. And then when you go back to Azumarill, you check its summary, it should now know the move Belly Drum. And there it is. You now have the move Belly Drum on your Azumarill for you to use during the Charizard raid battles. Another option that you can go for if you want to go for more of a support Pokemon is you can go into the raid battle with Doxbun, which is the evolution of Fido, our little donut dog. So Doxbun is a pure fairy type, which means that it's going to be super effective against Charizard's dragon type. And you are going to want one that has the Fairy Terra typing as well, just so that you can take advantage of the boost once you are terastallized. Doxin actually has a really cool ability that will definitely come in handy for the fire type moves that Charizard can use. Its ability is Well-Baked Body, which means that it actually takes no damage from fire type moves. And instead, it boosts its defense stats. So if this thing gets hit by Fire Blast, Flamethrower, whatever, instead of going down, it's just gonna get stronger. And like I said, it's all about survivability in these raids. I'm not gonna lie, personally, I have not EV trained my Dachshund. I just caught it because I plan on going in with more of an offensive set with my Azumarill. But these are the moves that I would put on my Dachshund if I were gonna take it into battle. I would give it Draining Kiss because not only is it a fairy type move, so it's gonna be super effective, but it's literally gonna heal any damage that I take. Play Rough, because that one's a given, it's gonna hit hard. I kept Work Up on there, which is one of the moves that I had when I caught it. However, Work Up's not the best move when it comes to increasing your stats, since it only increases your attack and special attack by 1 level. And it also has the ability to learn Ice Fang, so I went ahead and threw that on there just so that I could have another super effective move against Dragon. So Dachshund is definitely a viable option, it's just not as hard of a hitter as Azumarill would be. Another downside to Dachshund would also be that since it is a pure fairy type, it's gonna be hit extra hard by any steel type moves that Charizard does have. If you do want to go the support Pokemon route, you could also give it something like Helping Hand so that you can boost the damage done by your teammates since you can't hit as hard. But that is who I think is going to be the most effective counters for the upcoming raid battles. Hopefully you guys found this video helpful, and leave your suggestions for who you think would be the best counter in the comments down below. Because obviously your girl's trying to get her hands on a Charizard, so any advice would help. And if you are new to the world of raiding and EV training, you might want to check out the video I did yesterday on how to easily EV train your Pokemon, so that way you can make sure that you come into the raid battles with the best possible Pokemon. But as always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Love you guys, bye!